Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts. Welcome to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio. Thank you so much for joining me. And today is Thursday, January 21st, 2021. Where's the time going? As we all know, it's been like pandemic brain, so it feels like it was just December and November and some other things that were going on, and now it's the 21st, and gosh, I mean, it's going to be February in like about a week and a half. But hopefully you're having a good Thursday wherever you are in the world. And if you're watching this in real time or joining us in a few minutes, I really appreciate it. If you're watching it in the future, also appreciate you taking the time to check things out through Facebook or YouTube. And typically I don't do this very often, but in this case, as I do this real quick, I have been posting that for people that are tech oriented, then a lot of their live streams are things that they put together through their own knowledge and skill set. Doesn't cost them anything. In my case, I'm not tech oriented, as anyone who knows me. And hi, Industrial Girl. Good to see you down in East LA. Thank you for joining me. So I am kind of starting to make a little bit of a pitch, plea, whatever you want to call it. If you're in a position to make any kind of donation, I do have a PayPal link that's on my Eclectic Arts pages. On any YouTube video, it's in the description. On Facebook, it's on the Eclectic Arts page. I just recently posted it. It's kind of hidden on Twitch, but it's there. I completely understand if you're not in that position. I'm all too familiar with being in that position when money's tight. But if you are in a position where you feel like you've been enjoying the interviews and live streams that I've been doing, any dollar amount would be greatly appreciated to keep these things going, because I do pay for this service to keep it going every month, and things are tight. So again, only if you have the opportunity and the inclination to do it, and if not, I completely understand. But let's kind of get to what's coming up. On Saturday, the 23rd at noon Pacific Standard Time, which would be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Ed Craig, Tales from the Road Part 2. Ed has been a tour bus driver for John 5 and Doyle and Skeleton Witch and a bunch of other acts. And he came on in November, and we talked about all the things he's done, being the tour bus driver who's responsible for the crew and the band's lives when they're on the road. And so he's coming back, and we're going to get into round 2 with Ed. So I'm looking forward to that. And again, that's going to be on Saturday. And then after that, things are a little bit open, only because of my personal day job, night job responsibilities. I kind of have to see where things shake out next week. But always know that I'm plugging away, trying to bring the most eclectic entertainment to people. Sifts through the couch. I think I can find a few. Hey, Industrial Girl. If you're so inclined, I would appreciate it. If not, I totally understand if they're just not in that position. And maybe down the road you might be, or maybe things in my case will start to improve. So I won't have to start making pleas and pitches for help with keeping these things going. And I actually have I should have put this up here. There's at least a banner. So that's the PayPal link. It's my name with one to the end of it, because there is another Mark Sugiyama, and he's actually from Seattle, which is really strange. But it's not me, and he's not music oriented or arts oriented. But anyway, that's what the banner is. And again, you can find it on the YouTube description for any video live stream that I've done. It's there. So I'm going to take this off so I don't have to keep looking at it. But let's get to my guest today. I love heavy metal. People know that's my roots. That's what I grew up with. It's my foundation. And I want to give a shout out to my good friend Ken for connecting me with my guests here. So let's get to it. My guests today are bringing me back to my roots, as I just said. They are members of a fantastic thrash metal band out of Houston, Texas. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio, Alex and Carlos from Distartica. Hey, guys. Oh, let's see here. Oh, and there's Ken in the chat. Let's see here. I'm not hearing you guys right now. Are you muted for some, maybe?
I check. What's up, everybody? Hey, there we go.
There we go. Oh.
Hey, what's going on, Mark? How's it going?
I'm doing well up here. How are you guys doing down there?
Doing pretty good.
Doing really good, man.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today, this afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us. We appreciate the opportunity to, talk about our band and, any questions that, or just anything that we can talk about. Hey, we're open. We're here to hang out and just have a good time.
Cool. So let's kind of talk about. I've done this with every guest on most of the virtual interviews I've done. How have you been faring during this pandemic lockdown time from last year into now?
Well, on my side, have my small business, and of course, most small business have been hit pretty hard. But just hanging in there, it's all you can do. You know.
And for me, yeah, I guess, just I'm a streamer, so I'm a gamer on the side, so that kind of helped me to just kind of stay focused, while we also work on some stuff. I know that right now we're working on our album, thrash metal. We've released our first album in 2017, but now we're working on a second album. But in the meantime, like try to stay focused and stuff. So I do some game streams here and there, and at the same time we're writing music and working on our second album.
Okay, and Carlos, since you're a streamer, do you have a Twitch channel that you want to promote?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. My Twitch is twitch.tv/obs rattlehead is my Twitch. It's I do basically it's gaming. I'm a competitive fighting game player, so I'm involved in the fighting game community, and I'm actually known in the Mortal Kombat community. So I actually have some pretty much direct connections with NetherRealm Studios, who is the creators of Mortal Kombat, and so they know of me. I do streams. I held a tournament last year, actually, an online tournament. So, but most of the time we just play against viewers and hang out and just have a good time.
Awesome. Yeah, we have a couple people that I got to know through the tour with Alice that are on Twitch right now, and I know they're streamers, gamers, all the kind of things. So they're probably gonna go check out your channels, my guess.
Right on. Well, you got Matt Heavy of Trivium, like huge gamer now apparently. So that's freaking awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. And Captain Blackwood, nice to see you. Thank you so much for the donation. Again, I'm one of those people, I don't like asking for those kind of things, but it's getting to that point. So thank you, Captain Blackwood, for making that donation to me. Yeah, it's been such a crazy, strange time. So like, can you guys kind of think back? When was the last live gig you did?
Oh, you know what? I don't remember. Let me think. Okay, no. You know what? I don't remember.
I'm trying to remember as he's thinking about it, because I want to say maybe like in the beginning of last year sometime. Or no, maybe I think it was in January, right? I know it was a local show for sure that we did have. Was it in Acadia?
You know what? I don't remember.
Honestly, yeah, it's been that long.
Guys. I miss the feeling of being live
on stage, man,
and jamming, going crazy. But you know what? I don't remember. That's funny. I don't remember, dude.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's everything just got thrown off, and even like just gigs and all that. So I know we've had shows like on like at the end of 2019, we did have a couple of shows. And I don't know if we had some at the beginning of the year last year. I don't recall.
Okay.
Yeah. There's your answer. We don't remember.
I don't remember. 2020. It was the entire year that we had no shows. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. After that, we just stopped.
We had no shows.
Yeah, and that's fair enough, because I know for myself, being on the press side of things, I'll look at like when a Facebook memory comes up, and it'll show me that I had taken some pictures at a show that I thought was somehow in 2019, and then it actually shows that no, it was like the beginning of February of 2020, before everything went to hell in a handbasket. But yeah, my whole sense of timing of like when I thought I did something is all messed up now. I have no frame of reference for anything.
Except your Facebook memories, when they pop up.
Yep.
Like,
yes.
Those are the only reminders I get.
There you go.
And I see Industrial Girl says "In Flames We Rise" is an epic album. So there you go.
Oh, right on. I appreciate that. Yeah,
thanks, man.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. Yeah,
she's got it on her playlist. So let's kind of work our way back. So how did you guys start in music, just on your instruments, before you got to Distartica?
Carlos my brother here, he started doing music, when he was a kid in school. I picked it up when I saw him playing guitar. We one of his best friends at the time in high school, started playing too. So start jamming in the garage. Eventually, like that's most stories, which is pretty cool, to have that same story as a lot of bands, and that's how much we started, like and since high school, and then we had a couple of riffs here and there until they finally shape into songs. So in that I guess that took kind of a long time before it really turned into a song, but it happened. And then after that we worked and boom, we had the album. I'm really summarizing it there, but it actually was like maybe close to 7 years, maybe.
Probably, yeah, because I know that we started like as like doing covers in the garage. Again, like you said, that's a good way to put it. Like like a lot of bands, right? You start with covers, to kind of practice your instrument, your craft, and
the garage sound.
The garage sound, yeah, exactly. The garage sound, yeah. And then we went to like, hey, you know what? Let's start writing music, but you don't actually say it. You just do it. Like I think that's what happened. You just I have this riff. Oh, cool. I have this other riff. Oh, cool. Let's put it together. And eventually we just ventured into like writing music along the way. But for a long time we were like a cover band.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I see Ken saying I first saw Distartica as a covers band. So
he goes like that's bad. Yeah, right on.
Yeah,
right on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What got you guys into metal?
To metal, since we were kids, our older brothers were jamming to heavy metal. At first, it was kind of scary because you're
scary. I used to call it scary music back when I was a kid.
Yeah. So
these dudes were like jamming to like the bleeding kind of a corpse, freaking.
And I think the bleeding at the time had just come out, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Yeah.
Because we were hearing. We were hearing to Metallica. I think Justice for All. We were from Guatemala, from a small town, so. Music, it was not that accessible, but it was just the big bands, I guess, But Justice for All was, I think, at the time, the album we were jamming to, but mostly, our older brothers were jamming to heavy music, and them forgetting the records, because we used to live in a small town and they moved to the city, and sometimes they would forget, on an album, or we make a copy of it. I can't remember, but that was pretty much how we started,
Okay. And so you have that the older brother influence.
Yeah. Bad brothers, like we say.
Yeah,
bad influence.
Bad influence to the
Oh man. And so, being exposed to the kind of scary music from your older brothers and picking up your different instruments, are you basically self-taught? Do you ever take lessons at any point?
I think you taught yourself, right?
Maybe I was self-taught.
Self-taught, yeah.
The way we think it now, like we have all this technology available, YouTube videos, people taking the time to show you a song note per note that they took the time. That was me at the time. So I was mostly self-taught. Carlos did have some formal lessons.
I did actually. I actually started in like middle school. So if you watch the movie School of Rock, that's me in middle school. I love that movie. Oh, because it's so personal to me. It literally happened to me. We had this homeroom teacher that would bring his instruments one by one and just kind of let people like mess with them. Like he had like a whole band set up, and like he would just kind of like observe what people like if they spend more time on the guitar or on the keyboard or on the drums, and I did pick up the guitar. That's why he saw me playing guitar like this. I was a small kid, even like at my teenage years. So this giant guitar, I'm holding and I'm trying to play the intro to Enter Sandman, and but I was like, nah, I'm not into this. And then I found the drums and I started banging on them, and I was like, oh, this is it. And since then I never looked back. And when high school is when I got my formal lessons. I'm actually proficient in jazz drumming. I'm improv jazz is one of my another genre of mine. I kind of identify with Alex Skolnick, how he's a jazz virtuoso as well as Testament. So I'm like, you know what? I'm the same with drums. Like I used to be a jazz drummer, and
versatile.
Yeah, and so That's how I got some of my like lessons in drumming. That I even wrote like an entire drum solo that was written on paper, and I had to perform that. So and then of course, then metal is like a whole different ballgame, doing double pedals and all this other stuff. So, and then at the same time, I was actually in choir. Like when I was in high school, I was in all kinds of music classes. I was in the orchestra, marching band, everything. And so that's why I got my ideas, and I try to implement that into my music now.
That's awesome. I love hearing musicians. Well, I think most musicians, even if you have like your one focus, you might be dabbling in other areas for sure. And the fact that you're a jazz drummer and a metal drummer, I see there's a comment saying that that Carlos should meet Gordon, and Gordon's the bass player for Alice, and he's got his hands in a ton of different genres, and is like a master of all of them, and he's like the most humble guy you'd ever meet. So it's kind of the same type of thing if you're talking to Alex Skolnick, if you're talking to Alex Webster from Cannibal Corpse, these guys that are, they're so good, but they're also, exactly. But they're also so really down to earth and really cool. And so, gosh, you're talking about 7 years starting off as a covers band, and then you start getting the riffs together and putting things together that eventually became the album. Have you been sitting on a bunch of riffs and material then since 2017 for the second album, or has it kind of come and gone, or kind of where are we with this?
Oh no, this is what we can talk about what we're doing now. So yeah, if you want to talk about that, what we're doing.
For the second album, we didn't have riffs lying around. Maybe one or two songs that were left over from the first album, but those were kind of serve as inspiration for the second one, because I thought they were gonna be on this album, but they're not even gonna make it to this album, because once we started jamming, new stuff started coming out. Little by little, songs started coming out. I think I showed Carlos one riff, and I kind of turned into a whole complete song. He totally digged it, and then after that, song after song kept coming out. I think we have a pretty cool dynamic right now. Is that if you come up with a riff or a good arrangement, you want to top it off with the next song, So, and it's kind of a good.
We have this competition between us right now with writing. Yeah, like he'll come up with this track, and I'm like, all right, I see you, man. All right, cool. Let me hit you with this other track now, And that's what's been going on. I think now that's what, like he said, we're gonna have leftover material even for the third album now, which is good. We always want to have that, which on the first album we didn't. I feel like we poured everything into that first album,
Yeah, that was actually pretty hard to think about the second album, because I did put everything.
So did I. I want to think of
being self-taught, it's like and being with the technology at the time, I didn't have access to a bunch of things, so it was kind of limiting what I knew. And I just gave it all, but surprisingly, with the second album, we're coming back, I think a little heavier, a little heavier, faster, hopefully.
Cool. And I kind of know what that's like when you've emptied the tank. I mean, you put everything on the table. It's like, I got nothing left. And then it's great when after a little bit of time, it's like, no, now some new stuff starts pouring out of you, and you're getting inspired from other things. And it gives you a lot of hope that, hey, we can keep doing this, because we've got not only the music for a second album, we got too much music. Now we can maybe even have some that will end up on a third one. Always a nice problem to have.
Exactly. I think what really helped out too to get even more inspired is like the response to the album. Like, because we just did it, right? And it's like, well, let's take this risk. Just go, dive into it, just see what happens. But the response is what really like, what, we gotta keep going. Like, if people are thinking, oh, what can we do to top it off? And then once you get over that, then you start feeling the pressure, man. How do you top this? Like, so
I think we're unintentionally a thrash band, because of course that's our influences, but when you start writing, you kind of, pour out what your influences are. And that's how we came about, Carlos's drumming in the album is very versatile. It's like, it's not the same thrash beat the whole time, which is good. Some of my favorite albums do have that variety, rather than being just pure thrash from beginning to end. It's enjoyable, but it has to have that, I don't know if it's a word, re-listenability, thing, that you can come back later on and say, oh, I didn't hear that before, or it hit me different, So that's kind of the aim that we had, So, and that's what we're trying to, do for the second
second album. Yeah.
Okay, and Carlos, how did you develop your vocals?
We just made them. Look, from all of us, because it was three of us, right?
Awesome. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting my water here. Go ahead.
So it's three of us here, right? And well, at the time we were three-piece, and Carlos could do it better than everybody. He was in. The hardest thing has been on pitch. He was already in pitch to begin with. He had a good ear. So just to develop the vocals on top of that, I think it's just a matter of, since vocals is like, it's a muscle, you can exercise it, but being in pitch, that takes, much more time. So he could do it better than everybody, as a lot of musicians are, pretty, shy people or, introverts. Carlos just could do it better, and he turned out to have a pretty good live, I guess, persona, I could say, because I myself enjoy the show on the energy that I get from the drums and the performance. So, I mean, he stuck with it, and we just kept pushing him. He still doesn't want to do it sometimes.
I really don't, actually, because I feel like my drumming kind of gets held back. And like, so that's another thing, because a lot of the songs, if to be honest, like the first album, they're kind of hard live. Because I'm out here double pedaling, like like on the chorus part, and worst part of the song, and having to like carry the tune at the same time. It's rough, but I mean, hey, that's what I think what's metal's all about. You got to pull through no matter what. So we do that, but yeah, I mean, and to add to that, what he was saying is like I was mentioning in high school, I was in choir. So I did like, again, other completely different genre. Like we did a Christmas show, we did stuff where I did solo pieces and all that. So my voice was developed by an actual like singing instructor, and so that kind of helped me to but then like I had to develop like that scream, that I had to learn that on my own, like because I was too clean.
Well, and kind of to piggyback on that, Carlos, how long did it take you? Was it fairly easy, or was it a longer process to be able to get to the point where you felt good singing and drumming thrash metal? Because that's not easy.
I think it just happened. Like I didn't really pay attention to how it ended up just being, because going back to like the garage days, like that's how we started. And then what's worse, like, it was just like drums, guitar, bass, no mic, So I had to literally scream all that loud, with the noise, And so I just got used to it. And then like drumming, I didn't even think about it. I remember just doing just like a regular like your rock rhythm, just doing your basic like 4x4 rhythm on the drums. Mm-hmm. And I just started like singing, like, I don't know, I think it was some Metallica. I think it was probably In the Sandman, And I was like, wait a minute, like I'm actually like singing and playing the drums right now. And then that's when we just started doing covers, and that's when they were like, you know what, let's play Seek and Destroy now, Sorry about that.
No problem.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
But yeah, anyway, so that's how it turned out. It's one of those things that I didn't even think about. It just happened.
Okay, well, and this might be a good way to kind of segue into things that, Carlos, you're visually impaired, correct?
That is correct. Yep. Okay. And I'm glad you brought it up very like that, very like calmly, and no big deal. That's awesome. Yeah. Right. But yeah, I'm visually impaired. I actually lost it probably like down the line. So I actually had vision in the past. So if you were to tell me like, oh, colors, this and that, like I can kind of have a general idea. Mm-hmm. So I kind of have that, that kind of helps out. So yes.
Okay, and maybe you've been asked this question a million times, but how has that impacted you being able to play drums, sing, just kind of just anything related to the band?
I think it's gotten to the point where now, like, my goal is always to, like, I guess, develop a skill. I use my impairment, I guess, as a way to kind of like motivate like myself to be like, hey, I can just. How do I put this? Like, just like drumming without having to like see. I know to a lot of people it's like, oh, but you got to see where the drums are. Not really. Just make up a pattern and that's it, Because if you think about it, music is you're supposed to listen to it, Like I used to always have this fight with my band instructor with their music sheets. They used to have like, they would read the music, and I'm like, wait, can't you hear what you're doing? So it's always those things that we had. So I kind of like got used to having that advantage of like, let me just listen to. And it's not like we have super hearing. That's another thing that I hear a lot. And it's like, oh, you're the whole daredevil thing. And I'm like, no, not really. Like, I literally have no choice but to use my hearing, So when and I can relate to this too. When we have vision, like, we get distracted by visual cues. Sometimes we don't realize that visual cue comes with sound, until like that sound that the visual gets taken out, and then it's like, oh, okay, there's the sound the whole time, So that's how like I always tell people like about how I experienced like visual impairment. And so with drumming, it's been like that. It's I just found a way that works for me, like how I set up my drums, like my cymbals at a certain height, my drums like are very traditional, like I have them like how I would play it like a jazz drummer, but now with double pedal,
Right.
or whatever. So then like my arms like already used to that pattern, so I do have difficulty playing on other people's drum sets. Like, that really throws me off.
Yeah, that's been difficult. Yeah, sometimes we have to do that. He's done it. He pulled it off, but it's still a pain for him.
Yeah, and I would even, venture out there. Like I mentioned pre-show, that I'm a musician too. That I think it's kind of hard to play on anyone else's gear, regardless of sight, no sight.
Exactly.
It just feels foreign to you. It's not what you're used to. Grab someone else's guitar and the frets feel weird, or the body shape's different, or if you're playing behind a drum kit, it's like, oh, my toms aren't in the right spot, or they're too low, or they're too high, or they're tuned differently. It just kind of, you don't feel as comfortable as you would be on your own shit, basically.
Straight facts, man. Yeah, that's so. And you basically said it. Yeah, it has nothing to do with sight or not sight. It's really comfort. You got your comfort zone. And that's how you're gonna pretty much like deliver like your all if you have the right equipment that you're used to using.
Okay, and I know that you did an Apple commercial for assistive technology. Is that something you get tired of talking about, or?
No, absolutely not. No. That's
one opened a lot of doors.
I opened a lot of doors. Yeah, and definitely, of course, since I'm a huge advocate of like assistive technology, and that's one of the reasons I stream. Like I do my, I was talking at the beginning about like streaming, because I'm actually a high level fighting game player, even though like I'm not able to see the screen because I got used to the sound effects of the games. That's a whole nother topic we can get into, and that's like whatever. But as far as the Apple commercial, yeah, it opened a lot of doors. We got the opportunity to work with Apple directly. They helped us promote the album and everything, and it was just such a great opportunity to kind of blend into things that I like. It's being like and like someone who is promoting, and the fact that we put metal on the map, like in the sense of like in like on a mainstream platform, because that commercial came out during the NBA Finals of 2017.
Yeah, it was this a cool note when we were doing the whole thing. The lawyer, because they had a whole team. They even had a guy. His only job was to clean the iPhone. That's his job. It was a whole team.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's all his job was to keep the phone clean. Anyways, the lawyer said that since it was heavy metal, there were counselors from standby if we needed it, because they could be how do you call that, backlash, because this Apple is going, it wasn't global at the time. The commercial was displayed all over the world, and YouTube channel, and they had it I think they had it in Good Morning America, they had it during the NBA playoffs, which is big. So they said that it could backfire, because they've seen stuff like that. You heard that commercial with moms complaining because of a painkiller, for headaches, and it was like it could be something like that. So just be aware of it.
Be aware of it instead.
But just to have our music kind of be representing, and it was just pretty cool, and they said that it had to get approval all the way to the top, so that was pretty cool. After that, I don't know if you ever noticed, but they used
that song from Megadeth.
Oh yeah,
last rites.
Last ride, yeah, I think it was last ride for. They did some kind of, I don't know if it was a special or something, but I like to think that maybe we kind of like they tried it out with before to see how that work, like having some heavy metal riffing going on, on live TV. And then we saw Megadeth after that in the year after, and that's not very commercial,
Right.
So it's kind of cool to have kind of opened that door for a little bit there.
Yeah, I like to think that we kind of had a hand in that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's got to be awesome to know that you guys had your commercial and your music out there through Apple in 2017, and then the next one behind you is Megadeth.
Yeah, man, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean that means you guys were setting the trail and they're following you.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, because I mean, it's like what Alex was saying. They did mention that, and because I think at the beginning when they reached out to me, it was basically focused on just the accessibility part of like the iPhone or the Apple devices in general. And
Carlos said as a side note, "Oh yeah, I'm playing a metal band." That's a side note. And they were blown away with that because they were like, "What?"
Once I was in a band, they were like, "Oh yeah, we gotta capture that.
Yeah, we
gotta capture that." And I was like, "Okay, because usually, well, a lot of times when I do mention the band, it's always kind of seems to be like, oh, that's cool kind of thing, But no, like in their end, they're like, oh man, that's awesome. Let's see what you got, And it so happened that we're about to release the album. So it was perfect timing. I don't know how that happened, but it was perfect.
Yeah, perfect freaking timing. Yeah, yeah, because he announced it pretty much on the commercial itself. They that the album is coming out. I can't remember the date. I think it was March, April.
No, April 14th. I remember that.
April 14th. And the commercial, it was right in the middle of the commercial. So, and we actually we mentioned, who did we mention that? And they reached out to us.
Oh, yeah, it's Reverb Nation.
Reverb Nation. Yeah. We mentioned Reverb Nation at the time, we said something and, along those lines. And even they saw it and they reached out to us and they did a little story about us, about the interview. So it had a big impact. It's amazing, like that we got to have that opportunity. But, just because Carlos mentioned as a side note that, oh, yeah, I play in a metal band.
That's a side note.
Well, let me ask you this question. How did Apple first hear about you then? I mean, how did that get back to them about?
Honestly, you know what? That I've been asked that before, and I don't know.
Because with Carlos, it was accessibility wise, because when it comes to accessibility, I think Apple has pretty well handled as I have heard from Carlos. When you get the iPhone right off the bat, they really took the time with accessibility. Meaning that a blind person can do most, pretty much everything everybody can do, like post, stream, everything. So that's been accessible like 100%. And for other phones like Android, it's there, but kind of as just a side note. It's just, you can if you need it, but it's not really that good. So, but that's a mystery. How do they find out about him? I'm thinking maybe at the time because you were really involved in the gaming, community. That might have been it because they might have wondered how the hell are you doing the things you're doing, and Carlos, he's been a fan of iPhones for that reason, So must have been a connection in there, but that's true.
That's why it is. Exactly. Because I don't know. Like it was, did somebody? Because they have their people that do like follow social media of people who are disabled of all types to see like how their products have been used, and that's how because they gather feedback. But
because Apple has this thing, it's a global accessibility month that they have, and they do. I think they do it every year, and they pick up different individuals, who I guess Apple
who can represent like
Apple products that help them out in their lives and stuff like that. It was a whole group of people, who Apple products that help them with their lives basically, and Carlos just was one of them, and I guess it was just more interesting of him. because they kept using his.
Well, they said that ours, which is really cool. They said that ours was like the most like pumped up, because when they did the like summer, you know how they do their developers conference in June, like during the summer, they put our commercial like on front of all these developers on like big old screen and giant speakers, and it sounded like badass, like like the Influency Rise riff, and everybody in the crowd, all you hear is like it was jamming to it, man. And so it was just so cool that they told me, it's like, yes, because your commercial is really hype, it brought the hype, because the other ones were good, not to take down away from them, but it was more like, try to inspire and stuff. And to me, I'm more like, man, my approach was like, man, let's just have fun, like if it inspires, that's good, but that's not my focus. I just want to have fun and just, have a good time. And that's how the commercial came out,
That's cool. Well, that's kind of like when someone overthinks something. Instead of doing that, just have fun with it. Let it be natural. Let it be organic, and it'll really demonstrate who you actually are instead of trying to be some sort of formulaic, thing that was just spent too much time in a research lab or whatever to
exactly.
Awesome. And I definitely want to talk about. So, have you guys been, well, obviously pre-pandemic, but have you been gigging around Texas primarily? Where have you guys been playing shows at over the course of the band's history?
Primarily Texas, because we're still a local band. It's been difficult. Everybody has been having full-time jobs, so to coordinate something, like that it's been left out, prior to the pandemic, pretty well known in the local scene. But we did have a show, and we're from Guatemala. And we had a show, what year was that?
2017. It was, during the album, like, life cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
in 2017. We had a show there in Guatemala.
We had two shows
down there.
We toured basically the kind of the country there. It's small, but it's
small.
Yeah.
So it's
like going to here to Dallas,
Yeah. So we had two shows in Guatemala, and one of the cool things about it is that we went back. We haven't been to our hometown in a long time, so we came back and performed there. It was great. It was great coming back as musicians, and actually performing, doing a live show for them. And a funny note is, they don't have a 2 a.m. curfew over there, and we were we were jamming the whole night, and went through the whole set because we noticed that they wanted us to keep playing, right? Because we played the entire album, but that's just like an hour, an hour and a half tops if you were talking in between. So we busted out all the covers that we knew, and we just kept jamming, man, and they wanted more, so there's no
like 2 a.m. Yeah, like so 5 hours to like close, none of that. They keep going.
No drinking limits, nothing, man. So we went until we couldn't anymore. We even thought of replaying some songs again just to keep the party going. But it was great, man. It was freaking awesome.
That is awesome, and it's great that you'd be probably. I'm only guessing. I'm picturing as you're telling that story that you may have been looking at each other. So, what song are we doing now? Remember, can you still play that cover song? Can you still play that cover song?
And so, we ran out of songs, and it was like, oh man, yeah. And the thing is, we actually had a big old like library of cover songs, but you don't practice them, right? So you forget, and it's like, let's not even try it.
I do think we played almost 3 hours straight.
I think so.
So, but they wanted more, and there were 4 bands, because it started around I think 9. Regular time, that's a regular show, but we were closing the night, and like I said, there's no limit. There's no the cops ain't coming,
And all you can drink too.
And all you can drink. So like we gave it all, man. And they know it. But once you're in the moment, they wanted to keep going, and we were out of songs.
That's great. So any band watching this, if you go to Guatemala when you can play shows, have your fucking deep set list ready. Because you're gonna have to dig deep and keep on going.
You gotta find some energy in there, man, because you're gonna need it. Oh man, I was dead the next day, man. Especially drumming and singing. Woof.
Yeah.
That was a rough night.
That's awesome. And so when you guys have been playing some of the local shows in Texas, have you been opening shows for like touring bands? So have there been some really great bands that you've had a chance to play with?
Hell yeah. We opened, let's see, for Metal Church. We got a chance to play with, I know was it with Metal Church, Warbringer, and trying to think, remember the lineup. There was another one that we had. See, this is, man, 2020 screwed everything up, even memories. Because we did have quite a few shows that we did open, like, like locally, with all these bands that would tour and everything. So we had, some good opportunities, to that, like, I guess our material really helped to kind of stand out. And so that's why they would say, hey, you guys want to, play for these bands? And I'm like, hell yeah, you're asking me, they don't have to ask me, just let's go, So, but I know for a fact, I do remember like opening for like those guys. I think in 2019 we played with Metal Church, and then on October is when we played with Warbringer. Yeah, so I remember those shows.
Awesome. Yeah, I see Industrial Girl. I just mentioned that she wants to see she's in East LA. She wants to see a Warbringer show with you guys there too.
East LA. Awesome. Oh, that'd be awesome to play in LA. Definitely. That's something that we want to do. We actually had a lot of plans, like as far as tours went, and then this happened.
Yeah, actually for 2020, dude, we were in talks to have a short Mexican tour. We have a person there who hook us up with shows in there, which were pretty cool. And then the Guatemalan tour, and we even have
do a US tour actually.
Yeah. And then in El Salvador, it's like the Americas, they love heavy metal, like Europe, kind of like Europe, the Americas, from Central America, South America, because they don't get shows that often. So when they do, they just go freaking crazy. I mean, I don't know if you've seen those shows in Chile.
Creators,
those are freaking beautiful, insane, man. And there's a lot of political things that were going on with them, and then when they're finally over for them, it was metal was their liberating music for them. So I could see them appreciating that 100%. Like even Cannibal Corpse said they never had up to like 8 mosh pits going at once. Usually you have one, the big one right there, but they had mosh pits everywhere, man. The Creator show was great too. It's kind of like that in the Americas, they really love their heavy metal, black metal, death metal, all those,
Yeah, I've been involved in the underground metal scene for since the 80s or what have you, and yeah, you're right. Any genre of metal, you start going to Central America, South America, and even nowadays you can look on YouTube and that type of thing, and you see the turnout and the craziness of the fans down there. It must be for bands like going to like how it was for the Beatles when they went to Japan or something, where it's just freaking nuts. Everywhere you go. Oh man, that's gotta be tremendous. But hopefully you get, again, like for every band and artist and person out there, they get a chance to get back to what they love once we get past all this stuff, so you can be back on a stage and getting your second album released and getting that momentum back and everything else. And let's see, I see there's a question about, would you ever play Wacken, which is over in Germany, that huge festival over there?
That's the dream.
That's the dream, man. That is the dream.
Man.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like that is, like the dream is to like, be able to, honestly, to even just like quit my day job and just play, but the music industry is not the same anymore, So like that would be the dream. That's it, and definitely I would love to play Wacken. Like I feel, here's the thing, right? When we're on stage and we do these local shows, like I feel like I'm all here so hyped up, like in my mind, I'm thinking, man, I'm in this giant stadium, like this massive crowd, and then like, so that's what I want, like I feel like, I don't know how to say this. I'm just gonna be honest then. Like I feel like I have too much energy for like a local bar, that's what it feels like to me sometimes, like when I'm on stage. So if we were to play Wacken, that would be perfect, because then I can just unleash everything. Like, everybody, get everybody to somehow I managed. Honestly, I don't even know how I did it, but I managed to like we get the crowd pumped up and everything, because these guys always give me feedback after the shows. Like I'll tell them like, how did it go, and they tell me like, dude, like once you like you started like going off about like, hey, let's jump like mosh pit or whatever, people was like get into it, so like I would love to definitely do that. So that's my long answer as far as Vakken.
Yeah. Definitely would.
Well, that's cool, and it kind of reminds me of what a long time ago Gene Simmons had talked about when they first started out playing like these little hotels that had like 10 people show up. That he was always imagining they were playing Madison Square Garden, so that's the energy he wanted to bring on stage. And it's always kind of stuck with me that even like I had a little duo that played around town like 4 years ago, and we were just doing it for fun. But if one person showed up, you want to give everything. And exactly. If you have 100,000 people, you want to give it everything. Yeah. And since the band's been around so long, it probably it does make a lot of sense that you're ready for those opportunities. If it's going to be at Vakken or like Ken saying 70,000 tons of metal, the ship cruise,
download festival, or like like all these other like all these festivals, man, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and hopefully the festival. I mean, I see that they're trying to book those things in Europe for this summer, and whether those happen, I'm not too sure. But I think the smaller things will come back first, before the big old 50,000 people festivals. But hopefully, I'm wrong.
Yeah, that'll be a time when you believe that you're wrong. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Alex and Carlos, thank you so much for taking the time. I love talking with you about your band and just everything in your backgrounds. And looking forward to your second album when you get a chance to get in there and release it. I have a couple more questions if you guys still have a few more minutes.
We got all the time you need, man. All the time you need. We're good.
All right, cool. So one thing, I'm assuming that you guys, and I might be wrong, when you put out the first album, was that all do-it-yourself, that you guys had to figure out how to record it, release it, all that, or did you have some sort of help with that, or how'd that work?
Well, actually, I produced the album the first time around. I went to school for audio production, and that was the first to actually. When I think about it, the first album was very difficult. It's the first time doing it. I was thinking, going back in my memories and kind of trying to remember how kind of painful it was, because you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to put the best out there, but a lot of it, we figured out
as we went,
as we went, and so it was just everything us. I took care of most of it. I think the most difficult part when you're doing the first album is and I see it because I had for a short time I had a studio and I was recording all the artists. It's just getting the band together. It's one of the most difficult things. There's always one guy in the band that's carrying everybody. And if you have more people like that in the band, more things get done. So if one person is just kind of dragging it, so band dynamics, so bring all that together and encouraging them, because there's really we haven't done it, so we don't know what the end result is, if everything you do is really worth your time, so I think that was the most difficult part about it, but it was just all us, man, so, and I think it's gonna be like that, I think forever, because we find our kind of methods that been working. Like Carlos said, we're in a healthy competition, trying to come up with the best songs. And once we come up with the songs, the rest just falls into place much easier. I think thrash metal is mostly about the riff. The riff is the first thing, and then the lyrics fall into place, the beat and all that. So, because you can have great lyrics, but if the song sucks, it's like it kind of it's just there.
Cancels it out.
Out. And with great music, that's to me, maybe because I'm a guitarist, I do write lyrics too, I can't sing them. I just whisper them to Carlos, which is kind of a cool thing, and Carlos takes care of that, so, but we have a system going on. I think that it's going to change over time, so far what we have is just all us, all us, and then we'll have somebody else mix it and master it. I wish I could, but by the time I'm done recording and all that, because I want to mix my own album, but when you mixing it and you tracking it and then you producing it, I think you end up hating your own stuff, man, because you listen to so much, you kind of start losing that. So after that, because recording it and doing the whole production thing, it's a whole ball game, and at least I want to take care of that on our end and have somebody else mix and master it.
I think promotion too. Like I did a lot of the when the album was first announced.
Well, you got to promote it for us.
But like I was doing all the posts all the time. I used to tell them, because I used to watch all these bands. They'll do like little like clips of them like record, doing tracking a song or just random like just whatever. I'm like, dude, we need to keep the social media active, because at the time I was already involved in social media. Like I was trying to build my streaming, me involving in the gaming scene. So I'm like, dude, it's the same thing as like being in a band. And so I was pushing for that, So I feel like this year we learn from that experience how we're able to do that. And that's so yeah, we do everything like promotion, like recording, producing, like everything. We have to take care of that.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, the reason I kind of asked that is because a lot of the bands that I've been really enjoying lately, and that tour that I was a part of last year with Alice, they're all DIY. They do everything from themselves, their streams that they came up with, their light shows, everything was within the band, everything that their music videos, they do all of it. I just interviewed a guest on Tuesday, same thing. She's doing everything on her own. The Soap Girls do everything on their own. So I love hearing that, because those bands to me they're kind of removing the middleman basically. So they're so much more connected to their fan base that way. And that fan base gets rabid, and it just stays rabid as it grows, instead of kind of having like fly by night fans and the casual fan. Most DIY bands don't have that. You're either into the band or you're not.
True. Yeah.
True.
And one other question I want to ask, which is kind of more of a general thing. So being from Guatemala, and for someone like myself that has never been there, what's that country like? What was life like for you guys growing up when you were younger versions of yourselves?
Well, I mean, if you see the news, they're going to tell you it's a very dangerous place and you should not go there. But
let me just say on my end real quick. I think for me, it's literally a whole life, because I actually had vision when I used to live there, So for me, it's like all of the memories that I have, like as far as seeing things, it's all left behind, literally, it's there, like, because we grew up from a small town, so it wasn't like in the city or anything. So it was like, it was like a town surrounded by mountains, and like, so like all this stuff I remember is like more like nature, like, so like, trees, this is not metal at all to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Like the sunrise, the sunsets, and all that. Like I remember that, because like that's what I would, I had vision back then. I had 20/20 vision. And so, of course, as it started kind of drifting away, that's part of the reason I was brought. We came to the U.S. to find a cure. And because stuff happened, so it didn't happen. Therefore, like I just had to accept the fact as an. I remember it was like 11 when the news was dropped to me. Pretty much have to, like, by then had to accept, well, I guess this is a new life. I didn't just come here to like get the cure, but get adjusted to this new lifestyle. So for me, it was just that, like, growing up, for me, it was, like I had vision in the past. So I used to like be to like, outdoor activities and everything. So I was always into music as well. I do remember like trying to get into music, like playing the snare for the little marching band when they do parades every year. But, I was rejected. So I was like, okay. So I just kind of left that behind. And then now I'm in a metal band, so they can hold that.
Okay. And Alex, anything you wanted to add in about memories from that time?
Well, yeah. I mean, Guatemala is a beautiful country, and our experiences as a kid, is seeing mountains. We didn't travel that much we didn't even went to the city. I think we just there like once or twice, So most of our life was surrounded that small town, That's what we knew there at the time. Very peaceful, mountains everywhere. Rained a lot, and the weather was beautiful. I love Texas. I'm not gonna say it. I don't like it here, but it's hot as hell here. It's hot as hell. And over there you have all your seasons. I don't know if it's the same anymore because I think I still have family there, and they said that the weather's a little bit different now. But back then, all your seasons were well. You got your summer, fall, and all those, in their places. Now maybe it's a little different, but that's what our memory was from back there. Kind of peaceful and kind of boring, but boring is good.
Yeah. I mean, definitely compared to the potential alternative to boring. So,
yeah. Chaos.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
And, I see Industrial Girl saying my family's from Jalisco, and so okay, that's right. So, yeah, I guess the other thing I was going to ask before we kind of wrap this up is there any music or bands out there that you've been listening? It doesn't have to be metal, just anything lately that's really kind of been getting good to you that you want to kind of throw out there. It could be a local band, could be just a mainstream band, anything. It's like this is what I've been listening to. It's really been cool.
I'll give a shout out. I follow a local band I think they're from College Station, Wellborn Road. They're do yourself like everybody else, and they've been grinding it during 2020, and they just released an album. So, they're more, I don't know how to label them, but heavy, kind of Black Label Society, kind of that style.
Okay.
They're pretty cool. So just a shout out to them. They've been working hard, kind of. When I see them doing their things, I go like,
what about me?
Yeah, so I go to my computer, start working. So that's
I think they're the ones who released that Black Label Society cover, right? Stillborn. Yeah. Oh, that was a badass cover. Yeah. So yeah, but for me, I mean, I've been all over the place actually. But I was mainly in the metal side. Like I've been jamming to a lot of what's this new band? I've been into Trivium because Trivium recently had one of their songs called "Spreading the Ashes" from their latest album in one of the Mortal Kombat trailers. And so I've been jamming to Trivium a lot. I love how they took one of their songs and put it in one of the trailers for downloadable content for one of these characters, and it metal just fits so well with Mortal Kombat. And I'm like, oh man, So I've been jamming to Trivium a lot, and just all these other bands that just come up and just
Very cool. Well, again, Alex and Carlos, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been awesome. Hopefully I get a chance to, maybe it'll be maybe in the fall. I don't know when I get a chance to actually see you. If I find myself down in Texas and you guys are doing a show, that'd be awesome to see you guys live. And we're looking forward to your second album. And thank you so much for taking the time this afternoon. I really, really appreciate it.
Likewise, Mark, we appreciate the opportunity and appreciate us giving us the opportunity on your airspace. And shout outs to everybody, all of your viewers, and thank you all for checking out the show and hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Mark. Appreciate that. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Stay metal, and I'll see you guys later.
Okay. Right on. Keep it metal.
All right.
Right on.
Thanks, everybody.